Joining us for the news at noon, I'm China Green.
And I'm Drew Carney. The man arrested over the weekend in connection with the Halloween night shooting at Vancouver Mall is scheduled to make his first appearance in court just over an hour from now at 1:30. Police arrested 32-year-old Travis Ward Saturday night. He's accused of killing one person and hurting two others when he allegedly opened fire during a trick-or-treating event inside the mall last Thursday. Ward is charged with first-degree murder and first-degree assault.
And hundreds of people gathered in the parking lot of Vancouver Plaza last night holding a do-over trunk or treat event. We got to talk to one of the organizers who said that after seeing the impact the shooting had on people, she took it upon herself to give families another chance to celebrate.
Popped off so fast. Everyone was immediately interested in it. We got so many cars willing to decorate their trunks. It went from 40 people interested to 800 people interested.
We also spoke with some of the kids taking part in the festivities who clearly enjoyed having a second chance at getting some Halloween treats.
I love Halloween and I'm so excited for this day. And we're gonna have a bunch of candy and we're gonna have a sugar rush from eating all of it. So there's more like prizes and stuff and squishies and more candy. And you don't have to feel so scared and cold.
Those are the cutest things. Vancouver police also in attendance there, passing out stickers and high fives. So
last Halloween night was very wet. I didn't know where we were going with that, Rod. Then I realized where we were going. We're going to Rodney. Not as wet today as we saw last Thursday, but wet nonetheless.
Yeah, we had a pretty good batch of rain that came through in just the past hour or so. If you look at the imagery for the last 3 hours, boom. If you're looking at it right there, it's kind of heavier. But now the big story is moving into the afternoon. The cold front moving past the Willamette Valley, and see how the rain is now breaking up quite a bit to our west. In fact, it's now dry across a good chunk of the coast, and there are only a few scattered showers at this point coming in over the next hour. So I think here at noon we can proclaim that the wettest part of our Monday is over. It's still windy out, and we expected this with the frontal passage. So right now at noon, still southwest gust to 29 in Portland, Salem to 22, Newport to 26, and the winds are spreading across the east. There is a wind warning for you folks in the Dow starting at 1 o'clock this afternoon. We'll talk more about that coming up in my complete forecast. Mentioned the coast is starting to dry out, still very cloudy from our live camera in Cannon Beach. Out in the gorge we have showers. You can tell it's been raining. The patio is wet at Cathedral Ridge Winery and Hood River, where you folks are expected to see winds pick up this afternoon and gust about 40 miles per hour. Downtown Portland, we're at 53. Temperature won't do much this afternoon, but the winds will ease and the rain will continue to break up. I have us in the mid-50s. That's your forecast for now.
Thank you, Ron. Boeing machinists began voting on the company's latest contract offer today. That offer includes a 38% increase in the general wages over 4 years.
As Farah Jadrin with our sister station in Seattle explains, union leadership is recommending the machinists vote yes this time to put an end to their nearly 2-month-long strike.
And so it is day 53 of the strike, and a lot of workers I've talked to said it has been difficult. Some of them have picked up second jobs, part-time jobs, just to make ends meet during this time as they fight for what they're hoping to get in a new contract. The newest thing you're going to see in this contract is a 3% increase in the salary asking. First, I just want to show you the number of folks out here voting at the Everett location at Angel of the Winds Arena. If you take a close look here now, this is what the offer is. It's a 38% pay increase over 4 years with a $12,000 ratification bonus on the table. What you won't see on there is anything about restoring pensions, and that's been a sticking point for a lot of workers I've talked to.
My message to Boeing is trust the workers. We want the best for this company.
About 33,000 union members have been on strike, shutting down production of most Boeing airline jets, including the company's bestseller, the 737 MAX. The strike started on September 13th. More than 94% of workers rejected that offer. The last offer also failed, with 64% rejecting it. If this latest offer is accepted, machinists can get back to work as soon as this Wednesday, so in just a couple of days. But back out here in Everett, you can see a lot of folks are ready to vote yes or no on this contract, and they'll have until 7 p.m. to do that tonight here in Everett. They're voting also in places like Seattle, Renton, Auburn, and Puyallup.
That was Farah Jadrin reporting. We will continue to follow the vote as it happens today and bring you the results as soon as we get them.
In other labor news, dozens of mail carriers rallied outside the East Portland Post Office over the weekend, speaking out against a tentative contract agreement between the U.S. Postal Service and the National Association of Letter Carriers. They're calling the tentative deal, quote, essentially a pay cut that doesn't keep up with inflation. Mail carriers have been working without a contract for over a year. They'll vote on this tentative deal throughout the month of November. In Clark County, deputies continue to search for this man, Maurice Haynes, after he was mistakenly released from jail a week ago. The sheriff's office says there was a mix-up when he was sent back to jail after a court appearance, and that mix-up led to his release last Monday night. Haynes was serving time for criminal mischief and wasn't supposed to get out of jail until sometime next year. His last known address was a home in Northeast Portland.
The Multnomah County Commission will consider a nearly $1 million funding request from the sheriff's office this week. It follows a warning from the sheriff that the area jails are approaching capacity limits. If they hit 95%, inmates will start getting released. In a news conference last week, the sheriff said that they're making room for new arrests.
Yes, we will have capacity and we will be available to support the work of our law enforcement partners.
The sheriff said that they are focusing on moving inmates from other jurisdictions out of the Multnomah County Jail. That funding request discussion is set for Thursday.
With Election Day tomorrow, NBC News released its final presidential poll for the 2024 race.
It found Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump are still neck and neck in the race for the White House. The poll shows both getting support from 49%. 2% of voters say they are undecided.
Because of the United States Electoral College system, this race will ultimately be decided by what happens in key battleground states like Michigan, Pennsylvania, and Wisconsin. The latest polls in those states finds razor-thin margins between the two candidates.
Here in Portland, we are closely following the race for the city's next mayor, where 19 different candidates are in the race.
Some of those candidates spent the weekend campaigning in Portland neighborhoods, aiming to pick up some last-minute votes. KGW's Celine Stevens caught up with 4 of them.
I hope that voters will look at my record today and see what I have to offer, because it will be a good indicator of the work to come and how I roll up my sleeves and get the job done.
We want Portland to be one of the safest cities in America again, one that's beautiful, healthy, and where seniors and families can walk down the street.
With the mayoral election having several candidates on the ballot, these candidates are trying to distinguish themselves from the rest.
This is truly one of the most important elections that Portland has seen in the last 100 years. If you care about livability, homelessness, public safety, economic recovery, we really need your vote.
This campaign is about our future, and I think if we elect the right mayor at this particular time, we can turn the chapter and really care for all Portlanders.
3 current city commissioners are on the ticket, so I asked them what makes them stand out compared to their colleagues. Here's what they had to say.
Well, I've been the commissioner in charge of half of the city's budget and 95% of the assets. I've consistently produced significant results. You'll also notice that we have more cops out there on the streets. That's because of the advocacy that I've had in place since I've been here.
And I've not backed down from any of the hard fights, including banning outdoor drug use, stopping distribution of tents and tarps while supporting the building of shelter, and finding alternative responses that are improving 911 wait time and are improving ambulance services in the region.
I am the only candidate in this race that has done the most during my time in office to deliver meaningful changes and policies for Portlanders. The other thing is, I'll say I have the most endorsements in this race. That's based on 20 years of relationships and trust, because they know I deliver.
Keith Wilson is one candidate who isn't a current politician, but instead has a career in the trucking industry. He says this shouldn't concern voters.
I'm an outsider, but as far as knowing Portland, I was born and raised here, so I understand Portland through and through. I might be an outsider, but it doesn't mean I lack experience.
And when it comes to where their priorities lie, and if elected as mayor, what's the one big thing that you would do?
Oh, that is really to address the suffering on our streets. That's the first thing we're going to do is address those vulnerable communities, which will allow us to restore public safety.
It has to be addressing our homelessness crisis. You know, this is going to require coordination between the city, the county, and the state.
I'm going to make sure that we get our economy back and vibing again, that we reinvigorate downtown, and that we get more housing, affordable housing for everybody at every income level.
1,000 police officers and making Portland one of the safest cities in America again. Put that at the top of the list.
In Portland, Celine Stevens, KGW News.
Well, if you haven't cast your ballot yet, there is no shame in procrastinating, but there is shame in not getting your ballot in on time. So here's the deal. Your ballot needs to be postmarked by tomorrow or placed in an official drop box by 8 o'clock tomorrow night in order to count. We'll also have full election night coverage for you tomorrow, streaming for free on KGW Plus. We have anchors David Molko and Laura Porter, joined by political analysts, all to break down the results as they come in tomorrow night for all the key races, both local and national. We also have a team of reporters who will be spread out across the region covering election night parties. Tomorrow night's coverage starts at 7 o'clock. By the way, you can download the KGW Plus app on Roku, Apple TV, or Fire TV.